One of the most controversial figures in the crypto world is none other than Richard Hart. A former guest on this podcast, we found him to be quite likable and knowledgeable. And yet the question remains, is the HEX token he created a scam? His community of followers who call themselves Hexicans would certainly say no. Others are more skeptical. Filmmaker Tom Gillespie has gone down the HEX rabbit hole to learn more about Richard and his community in a new 4-part documentary series called Hexicans and the Time Value of Money. We've got Tom with us today to discuss his previous film, this new documentary, and other stuff, and maybe some things, because that's what we do here. If you love HEX and you're south of the border, that makes you a Mexican Hexican. Welcome, amigos, to episode number 661 of the Bad Crypto Podcast. Ay, 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 ay.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, ignition.
Who's bad?
Hello, Sir Travis. How are you, amigo?
I am not getting cancer like this, man. I might be moving to Mexico someday. I don't want to talk like this, like Slobo Rodriguez.
You know what? It's fine. It's fine. It's
Okay.
because
It's a
it's called humor.
Oh.
It's called a joke, and obviously they call them Hexicans because it's based on the word Mexican. Otherwise, it wouldn't be funny at all, right?
That's
There'd
true.
be nothing
It
to
made no
it.
sense. I would just think that was just ridiculous. What were you doing that for?
I know. Welcome to the show. It's a Bad Crypto Podcast, episode number 661. We hope that you had a wonderful Christmas and or Hanukkah or Festivus or whatever it is that you celebrate this time of the year when you are hopefully surrounded with family, friends, and loved ones. And
Yeah. Did you guys like the 12 days of Cryptomas on
that
the last episode?
was fun. And in the AI song that that was written there, which
That's true.
we serenaded our people. And you've got
I did another one.
Yeah.
One. So I typed in, here's what I typed in. Write a new Christmas song, the 12 Days of Cryptomas, in the style of 12 Days of Christmas about Bitcoin and Santa and the Bad Crypto Podcast. And so I'm just going to start at the top, like in the 12 days.
Well,
of
how
Cryptomas.
about we do this? Let's do a cliffhanger here. Let's get to
Okay,
our
we talk it
interview.
at the end. There you go. of
Yeah,
course.
let's get to our interview with Tom Gillespie. We think you guys are going to find this fascinating. We'll get to the meat of the content, and then those of you who are the true fans, the true believers, the bad crypticans, if you will, we'll share with you the new AI generated 12 days of Bad Cryptomas.
All right. It's not you said content.
Content?
Content.
Content. One of the most controversial figures in the history of crypto is one of the most requested guests on this particular podcast. Hexicans, those that are true believers in the HEX cryptocurrency, requested that we have Richard Hart on the show to ask some honest questions. And we had a great conversation with him back on episode number 582. Still not convinced about HEX. Learned a lot about Richard, but not convinced about this cryptocurrency. Well, there's another gentleman out there who is not convinced. His name is Tom Gillespie. Tom is a debunker of sorts, has a colored history as a commentator on many news networks. He's a disgruntled investor in a crypto called Scoot, has produced the scamdemic film The Fake Fluencer, and is currently investigating HEX. And if you go to hexdocumentary.com, you can learn more about this. Tom, welcome to Bad Crypto.
Much appreciated, fellas. Thanks for the intro.
Yeah. So give us just a real summarized version of your background before we get into this investigation.
Yeah, so I started off, messing around with penny stocks back in the day, much like Jordan Belfort. My story is quite similar to Jordan Belfort's, actually. So I spent a lot of time experimenting.
Wait, are you a criminal? Are you a criminal? Is that?
I haven't spent any time in the jail. No.
Okay.
Are you a wolf?
But a wolf. A wolf of no. It depends. Have you seen the fake influencer? There's a pretty good backstory detailing my adventures back then, and you can watch it for free on Rad TV, I think it's called.
Okay, please
and
go on.
I think I should be paid for my work. And then so yeah, I think it was about 2017, 18. I got hooked into something called Scooter Coin from my younger brother. Tim and his son is these kids love to play on their scooters, at the skate park, and there was this scooter coin that he wanted to get in heavy on, and that's what influenced the production, the fake influencer, because I ended up going down that rabbit hole and discovering a whole world of crypto, just madness, really. And I mean, you guys have obviously been in crypto longer than myself, but didn't work out too well for me, and it provided for some very, very interesting content, I guess, and that's what sort of pushed me into making the fake influencer. My first personal adventure into film production, documentary production, if you like. So I lost a fair whack on that investment. Hence, putting it in my title there on the Twitter account. So it really taught me a lot very, very quickly about the space.
Nice. I gotta say, when somebody says, "Hey, you gotta check out this Scoot coin," like, to me that just sounds like shit, bro. Like, it's the Scoot coin. I'm all in. I'm all in on Scoot. Give me two scoops of that.
I can understand that. I can understand the argument, but you got to realize that most of the people getting into crypto are kids, right?
Right.
Like there are adult men and some handful of women out there, I suppose, but the majority are they're teenagers, young children even. And that's what sort of I was helping my little brother Tim out with his son's ambitions to become a scooter coin entrepreneur alongside the founding member Bitman 360, who by happenstance has quite a lot in common with Richard Hott, funny enough. And so I think I can be forgiven for wanting to help my brother out in that regard, his son.
I'll forgive him too, but I won't forgive this unless you explain to me, because you said we can watch the fake influencer for free. It goes to bitjoinstore.com and it says it's $15 for the fake influencer movie. Is this fake free?
Oh my God, that was fake news.
Yeah. What's the story there?
No, basically, the fake influencer has been out for just over a year now, and it's been streaming online for free. Recently, I worked with the guys at BitJoin Studios there, and it crossed 10,000 views, and then they decided, okay, we need to start making some money out of this bloody thing, right? So they put it behind a paywall. Well, I put my copy on something called Rad. I think they just rebranded to Rad.live. So if you go to Rad.live and scroll down, you'll be able to watch it there for free.
All right, we'll make sure we get a link
they need to recoup their costs as a production company by selling these productions.
Well,
I want eyeballs on the thing.
Red.live is not the right address, or you just rug pulled us. Did you just rug pull us on that?
Oh, this is my you've misunderstood my accent there, mate.
Rare.
It's rad.
R-E-D.
Like totally rad.
Oh,
rad. Oh, there you go. Totally rad.
There it is, right there, gang. We did not get video rug pulled right here.
It happens a lot. Yeah. So I think if you go to on demand, I think you can scroll down and you'll find it there, and you can watch it for free there.
Excellent. And we'll put a link to this in the show notes so that everybody can go check this out. All kinds of interesting stuff. I'm not aware of rad.live, and now seeing this, I'm like,
yeah, you are now.
There it is right there. There's the fake influencer. I'm going to put a note directly into our show notes for that.
That's nice. I want to ask about this because you did a movie, the fake influencer. And then you've also, because I'm curious about this is a little bit of a derail here, but you've written, for the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal, Los Angeles Times, London Times, et cetera, all the times, Business Mat, Rolling Stone. What about fake journalists? Is that going to be another show that you're going to do? Because it seems to me that many of them are just marching to the marching orders and doing what they're told, and they're all writing the same garbage.
Well, listen, mate, I can't help but agree with you there, right? They're all getting it from the same shitty sources, and often AI is putting this stuff together and distributing it. So, but what you, I mean, you guys would have been familiar with some 10, 15 years ago when this citizen journalist concept came about alongside social media. It was about 10 or 15 years ago. And I think that was a kind of spiral down towards, you know, the bottom, because mainstream media had to meet the citizen journalists somewhere on the internet, and they created some weird equilibrium over time where they were both fucking talking absolute bloody nonsense. So, you know, I think they had to mainstream media had to come down to the citizen journalist level, and the citizen journalist tried to sort of elevate itself to the mainstream level.
Right.
And you know, you've ended up with fucking neither, actually.
Right. Now we got Substack.
An absolute,
right? It's like maybe some of the good
an
ones,
absolute
some of them are rising
preposterous-
up, it seems. Yeah.
Yeah, and actually this perfectly segues into something that I like to call the rise of the citizen banker, which brings us right full circle back to crypto, right? Because an extension of crypto, or the suite of tools that it provides, essentially makes it possible that you might end up loaning money from your own kids in the future, or staking, or they're staking some crypto in order to get a yield that, you know, is distributed in some wacky way. So this whole idea of programmable money, and the idea that we're all, alongside becoming citizen journalists, we're also citizen bankers, and in the future, I assume, we'll become citizen politicians, thanks to the rise of DAOs. So this is some of the concerns that I have, and you know, I try to explore that in my productions, some of those questions. And I think, I don't know, you guys haven't watched The Fakefluencer yet, I assume?
I have not watched it yet, but now I've got it bookmarked here and I will watch it.
Yeah, so I think if you watch that and you enjoy it, you're definitely going to enjoy the Hexicans miniseries. It turned out to be a miniseries in the end.
So let's talk about that. You know, here's the deal. We've had Richard on the show, one of the most popular episodes in terms of listenerships and downloads that we've had, because he's a cult of personality and has created quite a following. Some would say a cult following, some would say true believers. You know, I'm not really passing judgment on it. We did not treat him like a lot of interviewers do, and he relaxed with us, started taking off his rings and, you know, laughing and being less defensive. I'm not sure that we got real answers. There's a lot of, I'm the best person in crypto, I've donated all this money, yada yada yada. That's all well and good if true. We just want to know, is HEX a scam or isn't it? So did you come into this going, I know it's a scam, or are you like, I'm just going to uncover this? Is this true investigative journalism? Tell us your story of how you heard about Richard and HEX and decided to produce this documentary.
Yeah, so it was while I was working on The Fakefluencer, actually. I interviewed with him, and there's 2 hours worth of interview footage up on the YouTube, on the Fakefluencer YouTube channel, with me and Richard talking about what I referred to as the crypto scamdemic. And that's how we first touched base, because I wanted to get his take. You know, from my early research on that project, his name kept coming up due to his reputation in the space as a crypto scammer, I guess. So I went straight to the guy, and I said, let's talk it out. And we had a really great chat. And again, I've also listened to your interview with him, and, you know, I thought it was pretty okay. And I went in there basically like an open book, mate. I wasn't coming in there pointing fingers. I didn't know the guy. I actually came out of the interview like genuinely liking the fella. I thought, yeah, he's a no BS type of guy, and I appreciate that. you know. Um,
By the way,
I always-
you're not the first person to say our podcast is pretty okay. That's so thank you for that. We appreciate that.
I wasn't talking generally about the entire podcast.
Just that interview that one time.
We're pretty okay.
You guys were okay that one time when you interviewed that one guy.
The rest
of it's complete shite.
No, but I mean, I checked your numbers out on YouTube this afternoon, and it does look like the Richard Hart one was the top hitter. You had some 20,000 views on that on the YouTubes at least.
We've gotten banned by YouTube long
but
ago.
I mean,
They throttle us down. Like, it's one of those things. Like, we were one of the first ones in the wave to get on crypto media 5+ years ago, and then we were one of the ones that YouTube banned. Just basically said, "You're out," and we were gone out of YouTube for about 2 years as some of the other fake influencers sort of rised up. We were talking. We've never shilled any coins. We've never done anything. But we did have a Coinbase affiliate link in our descriptions, and then that just got a blanket ban back in late 2017. So we've never really given YouTube a whole lot of push since then.
Yeah, most people just listen to our show. They don't want to look at our faces.
Yeah, I understood it would be an audio setup, but then I looked at the email just before, and it was like, "Oh, we record videos." Well, that's why I thought,
why not?
I'll set a little scene here and stuff. Yeah. You know, I got Frank Zappa up there.
I saw that the classic pigtail Zappa picture. I saw that. I'm like, that's Zappa? It? Yeah. He now, talk about somebody. If he was alive today, he would be railing against woke culture like a madman. He would have hated what they've done with the left.
Yeah, no, but without getting, I know I noticed you guys like to get quite political in your podcast as well. I prefer to steer clear of it. I think it's quite noisy and almost draws attention away from some of the more interesting things in life.
We are noisy. That is also true. Yeah.
We do say the inside thoughts out, so we're supposed to hold some of them in. We just don't do that.
Right, I get yeah. But anyway, let me come back for a second there to
Richard.
After the interview, he said that I wasn't allowed to use the footage in my documentary for whatever reason. He declined, so I wasn't able to use that interview. But I published it anyway, and he appreciated the fact that I didn't cut it in any way. That's the raw footage, the raw interview. I didn't cut anything. And from there, I was working with the fellas at BitJoin Studios, and they put a vote out. They wanted to do another production, another investigation, and there was a vote between something called BitNation and HEX. Do you guys remember BitNation?
I don't.
I think they were actually based in Puerto Rico.
I don't.
They're from way back in 2015 or something.
That's why. That was before we really got going down the rabbit hole deeply.
Yeah, but so those fellas wanted to look into that or Hex, and then anyway, the vote went out on public, and the Hexicans came in and obviously smashed the vote for. They really wanted to have us make the investigation into Hex. So that's what set me on the path, and that was July 2020. So yeah, year and a half ago. And I basically launched into it. The Hexicans were extremely welcoming in the beginning. I put a few videos out on Twitter and what have you, and got full into the conversation. I'd been speaking with Richard on Telegram as well, so he was aware of what had happened and what I was up to. But he declined again to be part of it. I don't know why. He didn't say why, but actually later on that year, and you guys are probably aware if you've done your homework, that there was another competing production that was primarily appeared to be funded by the Hexicans themselves, and that documentary is coming out early next year or something. But it looks more like a puff piece, to be honest.
Now,
as opposed to an investigation.
Okay, as I know that there was a fraud case that got dropped back in June of 2022. So, they were saying that as a Hex Ponzi scheme. Hex still hasn't really been released, right? Has it? I know that they were basically taking. What's the new one that they're going to do? Aren't they doing a
It's
new one?
Pulse Chain, but that's
Pulse
different.
Chain. That's different. Okay, yeah. I'm confusing the two. Yeah. So Hex is out there. Hex has been out in the wild. That's right.
And you've got to be careful here as well, because what I've realized is that these guys, this collective, of supposedly decentralized Degans that make up the Hexagon community are actually really very fucking well organized. And for example, if you search anything online, scam related, Hex scam related, you will immediately be presented with Hexagon content. So what I've noticed is that they've figured out a way to actually hijack the scam narrative to their advantage, so that they can always bring the conversation around to benefiting Hex itself, which is very, very clever. So I'm primarily talking about the YouTube content or video content.
Well, there's a lot of people who have a lot invested in making sure that this thing is successful. I mean, at one time, the price of Hex skyrocketed to I think he said something in the hundreds of thousands of % increase or something at one time. Whenever we were chatting with Richard, I think he said almost 1,000,000% increase or something at one time. I don't remember the exact specifics of it, but obviously it's not anywhere near that now. But in crypto summer, Hex was doing pretty good. So it was almost like if you got in at the right time, right, and then got out at the right time, you did extremely well. So you can see why a lot of these Hexicans are so happy about what it is, and they don't want you talking bad about Richard Hart, because in some ways he's impacted their life probably more so than anybody's ever positively impacted their life, right?
Exactly, and there is some figures out there that suggest that he's minted some 3,000 or 4,000 new millionaires through the Hex, which was originally free to claim through your Bitcoin address, right? So you would put in your Bitcoin address, and then you would be able to claim your Hex for free. And then basically there was the amplifier, there was the big payday, there was a bunch of shit that happened in the first year that were all pumpermental, sort of tokenomically designed to artificially inflate the value. And I mean, we shouldn't even come to the question of the OA and the roles of the god whales, because again, I cover this in the documentary, so I don't want to give too many spoilers away here in this here podcast, but there's a lot of different instruments at work in unison here with Hex, especially in that first year. So we'll see if he does it again with Pulse Chain. It's highly likely that he will just do a rinse and repeat. So, but again, this is definitely not investment advice.
Well, let kind of summarize, because obviously this is, it's being called a scam. I'm assuming that that's the approach that you're taking with this. At least that's your conclusion. Can you tell us why you believe that?
Okay, so let me just put you straight there. I've never called it a scam. Okay. And part of my investigation was to figure out why so many people call it a scam, and you'll see that if you watch the series. And if you look at the title of the series, it's Hexicans and the Time Value of Money.
Right.
There's nothing about the founder or the dubious nature of the behavior of the OA or various participants, or even the contract itself, although those things are explored in the series, right? So just to be crystal clear, I went into this primarily from the perspective of the Hexicans. I wanted to understand what the Hexicans believed about both the founder and, the future of Hex. So this allowed me to basically explore a more broader question about crypto culture and the role of community and the value of a token, right? Or the perceived value of a token, and how that's manufactured to a certain extent through the community.
Tom, how is the community, the Hexicans, how are they reacting or responding to what you've put out so far?
So I'd say initially they were very, very welcoming because I put a pretty open arms video out at the beginning. So yeah, they were very welcoming. And then as time went on, there was waves of sort of certain individual Hexicans giving me shit. But honestly, over the last year and a half or that I've been embedded with those guys, I'd say that at least 80% have been, extremely kind, helpful, friendly human beings. People often say that that it's mostly bots. It's not. These are genuinely real people. However, it's probably the numbers are slightly inflated. For example, if you take a look at the so-called hodlers, right? When I started the investigation, it was 250,000 wallets hodling HEX. Clearly from the airdrop and the amplifier phases and what have you, they just, most of them are just dormant. But most recently, they've added, when I checked it, they've added another 100,000 to that. Again, I don't know what kind of bot, like maybe they're using some bots to automate all that sort of distribution stuff to inflate the numbers. But over time, I've noticed that there's probably, it's not tens of thousands of engaged Hexicans, probably more in the single digits. So maybe 3,000 to 5,000 Hexicans that are actually on the daily. And then if you dig a little bit deeper, maybe in, the hundreds, 2, 3, 4, 500 that are actually really, really fucking engaged. And then, obviously you've got the God whales and the various sort of individuals that feel like they are HEX influencers and have some sort of responsibility to the contract, and Richard maybe to some extent as well. I don't know. It's a complex thing, but what it's definitely provided to me is a sort of example of how crypto projects harness communities and individuals within those communities to its advantage, right? A little bit like when they say the house always wins. It's in the future it'll be the contract always wins, or the origin address always wins. I mean, again, the origin address could be an individual, could be a DAO, could be 12 members of a board of a corporation. We don't fucking know, and that's the beauty of this technology, I guess, for many.
Hey, Tom Gillespie, just real quick, we don't fucking cuss on this show, so if you can stop that bullshit, I'd really appreciate that.
Mate, I'm sorry, I should have fucking dropped the cunt word a long time ago.
Well, you are Australian. That does count when you're Australian.
Yeah.
I want to talk. You know what? I do want to sort of touch on that because I do think that a lot of these coins, you get so emotionally tied into their success, right? And so in some ways, it seems like it could be a little cult-like, right? Because it's so hard to detract and distance your emotion from you're like, I believe this coin's going to be so good. I am all in. I'm going to hodl until I can no longer hodl. And then we see the crypto winter comes in and now everything's down, depending on the coin, 70 to 99.99%, right? Depending on which ones you invested on. So
I see you've just pulled up the NFTs from the first documentary.
Yeah.
I'll give you a quick super fact on those. They were mintable for free via the QR code that's embedded in the film. Like when you watch the film, you'll see a QR code, and they were mintable through there. 59,000 of those NFTs were minted in the first 2 months
on the Wax blockchain too. I saw.
Yeah, I mean, at the time, that was what was recommended by one of our people at BitJoin Studios there. Yeah. But let me just pull you up there for a second about the cult aspect, because what I've noticed as well is that it's not a universal cult around a single coin, but instead it is a variation of different sort of micro cults within the broader community. So it's very simple to think of it like the HEX community or hexagons are one single unified cult. They're definitely not. It's more like I've identified at least 6 within that token. So and the reasoning why
6
I believe that
sub cults within the one coin.
Yeah,
wow, that's interesting. That's interesting to think about.
Exactly, and I'll tell you why I think that's the case, and it's not just HEX; it's probably others as well. But there is a online there is a attention economy that exists where people need to create some sort of drama or attract some sort of attention to their project, right? So what they do is they fragment the drama amongst different subcults, and then they rub friction amongst one another. And this can go down to the individual as well. You might have like 4 or 5 or 6 different individual players that will almost live action role play this type of behavior in order to create drama, in order to create attention online, which is in short supply apparently. So this is kind of a theory that I've developed over time as well, is that there's an appearance of a unified cult, but there is actually some sort of strange sort of psychological sub-drama happening between these different entities. And they can be, each of these cults does have a benevolent leader to some extent that is organizing them and pushing them to create certain content and talk on certain talking points in order to create friction, to create drama, to attract attention. So it's all that's a theory that I'm developing, and I can't help but think if the hexagons are doing it, probably every other crypto is doing it as well, right?
Yeah, I would have to agree. There's definitely a cult around a lot of the major coins. Whenever I see people get extremely tribal about anything, my spidey senses tingle. Coke versus Pepsi, right? We have different taste buds. Some people like Coke, some people like Pepsi. McDonald's versus Burger King, dissing each other. Mac versus PC. There's benefits to both. I've used both
you
of
love
them.
it. You love
red
it
versus blue. It's like it's the same thing.
In the US, you love that shit.
Yeah, and it's just it's very tribal, and I find crypto to be the same way. Like, people are rooting for their favorite teams, and I want the whole industry to succeed, but there's certain tokens that definitely raise some red flags for me. I noticed here on the website of your friends that you were talking about, you're having people vote now for which coin to investigate next to see if it's a scam, a Solana, XRP, or USDT. So who's winning that one? Do you know?
Oh, mate, I haven't checked for a while. Last time I remember looking, it was Tether, but that was a good few months ago now. But what's interesting about that site as well, cryptoscamdemic.com, is that I've started to develop that into a I guess you could call it a DAO, because I've a lot of people reach out to me to try to have them investigate certain projects, or even some people, reach out, community members, to come and investigate their coin, because they believe that their coin is so awesome that they want some sort of stamp of approval from Tom Gillespie for some reason, which is kind of bizarre. But that prompted me to start to create a DAO structure around this scamdemic investigation project, which is under construction right now. I haven't gone public with it just yet. But
are you going to release a scam token to support the DAO?
No,
That would be beautiful. Hey, get our scoot coin, you guys. I mean, scam. I mean, it's really good though.
It's very possible that might happen in the near future, but for now, I've just minted some roles and responsibilities so people know what the fuck they should be doing, because I've been doing way too much of this stuff on my own. I can't continue to do this, and if I have this many requests from people, then surely there's some demand, which means it's just figuring out the business model, I guess, and how that might work out. But I'll go public with that in the new year, and we'll see how it goes. I'm trying to attract a bunch of people. It's called the Bit Joinery. I'm working on it with the guys at BitJoin. So I think if you go to the bitjoinery.com, you can get early access. But that one's in stealth at the moment, I guess.
Let me ask about XRP, because I know that's one of the ones that's on your list. Have you done any research on them yet? Because we're still waiting for the SEC to finish their ruling on this whole thing and let us know. Because it seems to me that if the SEC is like, okay, this is legit, then the price would go boom, but not financial advice. I'm just looking at it going, wow, what's going on? So what is your thoughts on that yet?
I mean, XRP's been around for a good long while, right? And as far as I did some early preliminary research a few years back, again, when I was working on the fake influencer. And from what I understand they can just basically create as much as they want. It appeared to be very, very centralized, basically just a corporation issuing centralized tokens in a potentially valuable international payment system of, very simple value proposition. But the issue obviously was that they could, again, inflate the supply at will. And I suppose the fact that it's centralized to such an extent that this, I think it's Brad Garlinghouse.
Garlinghouse.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, this fella, he seems to be, again, he's risen to some sort of, well, I mean, it's capitalism as usual, isn't it? There's nothing, it didn't seem like there was anything crypto about it, to be honest.
Interesting. Yeah, we had Brad on the show probably 5 years ago, very early in Bad Crypto. It's about time to have him back. I don't know how much he is doing interviews now with the SEC case being all tied up. He probably can't speak to that, but I am curious to see where they're at with that. Well, Tom, we appreciate you coming on. Is the 4-part series, is that the entire series on Hexicans that people can watch, or is there still more to come?
That's mate, I could continue on and on and on, but that's what it is. It's wrapped now. I'm actually pushing it out. Well, it's supposed to go out at the end of this week, but it's probably looking more like the end of next week now due to certain issues outside of my control. But it's a 4-part series, and it encompasses exactly what I have discovered about not just hexagons, but actually the entire crypto industry. And I think those people, part of my MO is to reach those people outside of crypto with some of these messages and ideas and concepts of the crypto culture that they might not otherwise be able to access due to the fact that most people are only interested in number go up, right? Get rich, get quick, get rich kind of thing. So
when Lambo, when Moon.
Get rich slow.
Yeah.
The price of HEX when it first came out was 0.00022 roughly, and now it's 0.024. Ooh, it has gone up. It did go all the way up to almost 50 cents, but it is slowly tanking. HEX might want to change their name to Wrecked.
Fellas, you are going to shit yourself when you watch the series, I promise.
I'm gonna watch it on the toilet then. That way I'll kill 2 birds with 1 stone.
I'm gonna watch it in Depends.
Well, yeah, but go and watch the fake influencer beforehand, because it provides some sort of pre-context to to this
Yeah,
adventure.
would love to see distribution of your films on some streaming apps, so people can go on
Mhm.
Prime or Sling TV or one of these others and be able to sit on their
Yeah.
on their sofa and watch.
Mate, I've tried to use something called Film Hub, and it's fucking horrible interface. Like, I just keep hitting brick walls with that
Well, I
shit.
believe we can probably help you with that. Let's talk offline about that. Tom Gillespie, thanks for coming on today and sharing with us. And you guys go check out the show notes for this episode, badco.in/661, I believe. And you'll see all the links there so that you can watch as well.
That's true. And we're not influencers. We are outfluencers. We're out.
I've got an innie.
Okay, well, that's a little
Right
too much
on.
information. That's a
Appreciate
little
it,
much.
fellas.
Yeah.
Really appreciate the opportunity.
So we never really did find out what Tom thought, but I think that, he wants people to go watch the documentary, obviously. And so I'm going to pony up my $20 or whatever it is to support independent filmmakers and watch this series.
There you go.
There you
nice.
go.
It was nice chat with him.
Yeah.
He's an interesting guy. He's doing cool stuff.
He's
It's
a
like
good guy, mate.
he's spending a lot of time creating in-depth, deep content that, based on current models, aren't getting nearly as many views as it should. I mean, he was talking about stuff. It's like, oh, we sold maybe 50 copies of this. I was like, dude, you're doing awesome shit. It seems to me like you should have way more people paying access for that. He's spending so much time creating in-depth content. Hopefully he starts creating a little smaller chunks of content to help blow up his big content. So
yeah,
good luck to him.
And if you guys were paid attention to the special episode and have your membership to the Bad Crypto Nifty Club from badcrypto.uncut.fm, then by the time this episode releases, you'll probably have received your special Christmas NFT airdrop. And there's more of those coming. So if you don't have your membership card yet, cry a little bit because you missed out on like 6 airdrops so far. Go to badcrypto.uncut.fm and more NFTs coming your way. So Trav, tell us about the AI.
The new one.
Yeah.
I'll start it off at the top because it's 12 days of Christmas.
Do you want to share the screen so I can see what you wrote?
Well, it's kind of convoluted because it basically did a verse and then it did 2 coins at a time and then it did a chorus. So it was just kind of weird. So I'm just going to go 12 days of Christmas and I'm just going to go down.
Okay, do it.
On the 12th day of Cryptomas, Santa brought to me 12 stellar lumens, 11 iota tokens, 10 NIM coins, 9 Bitcoin cash. Worth 8. I don't think 8 Neo coins. And this is weird. 7 Cardano coins. They're not mixing it up. 6 Doge coins, 5 Ripple XRP, 4 more Narrow coins, 3 Litecoins I'm mining, 2 Ether coins, and a Bitcoin worth $1 million. So if Bitcoin's worth $1 million, those 2 Ether coins are probably worth a shitload too. Those are probably worth about $50,000-$60,000 each. So Santa just dropped you about almost a couple $1 million.
Most of what was in there is not worth much. I was paying attention. The Bitcoin Cash, there's 8 of those. Okay, that's worth a little bit. And then there was 5 Monero.
Yeah,
that was worth
5
something.
Ripple XRP. That's worth that's worth like $2.
Nothing. But the 2 Ethereum and then the 1 Bitcoin. I'll take 1 Bitcoin over a huge sacks of the rest of those.
Yeah, that's good. Well, there you go. That's what you get. You don't get any of that because it's just AI bullshit.
You get nothing unlike it. But you do get our thanks and appreciation for listening to the show. And we would thank and appreciate you more if you went and gave us a 5-star review. Just when you think you can't handle any more appreciation, we're going to flood you with it. Here it comes, gushing from the very core of our soul, from our hearts, from our minds, from our bowels. It's where it's coming from. It's coming from our bowels. Go give us a 5-star review and be clever, be witty. We like all those things. We need more wit around here.
We need less bowels. More vowels. Less bowels. And an owl.
A-E-I-O-U. And sometimes why? Why? Because you stay bad. Bad Crypto Podcast is a production of Bad Crypto LLC. The content of the show, the videos, and the website is provided for educational, informational, and entertainment purposes only. It's not intended to be and does not constitute financial, investment, or trading advice of any kind. You shouldn't make any decisions as to finances, investing, trading, or anything else based on this information without undertaking independent due diligence and consultation with a professional financial advisor. Please understand that the trading of Bitcoins and alternative cryptocurrencies have potential risks involved. Anyone wishing to invest in any of the currencies or tokens mentioned on this podcast should first seek their own independent professional financial advisor.